Hey,
Hey, what's going on, guys?
not a whole lot.
You?
I figured since I was going to be talking to you guys, I would theme dress as well. So I got my Greta shirt.
Hey, very nice.
Wow.
The fox.
It seems like many years ago.
Yeah, but you know what? Come to think of it, I don't think you guys ever played this show because I got this show. You guys remember when you guys played the Fillmore?
Right.
It was about a year and a half ago, Memorial Day weekend, right? And I think that you guys were supposed to play the Fox coming up, but it never happened. Is that right?
I'm pretty sure. I thought that was in the springtime.
Yeah, I can't.
Maybe it
remember.
was.
Yeah.
We did two shows there. I'm not sure when. I can't remember. But
Okay, so maybe that was it. Maybe I just missed it. Maybe I was on vacation or something. But how you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
I'm doing well.
No complaints.
Yeah, you got the new record. Are you guys fired up to unveil that on the world?
Very much so.
Absolutely. We've been working on that one for a while.
Yeah, I was going to say, so tell us all about this record, of course. That's going to be dropping in the spring.
Well, it's definitely going to be different than what we've released so far. And a lot of that has to do with we've had a lot more time to put this one together than any other piece we've ever released. So it's pretty cool.
Due to some, unforgiving circumstances that we, were able to take even more time on it than we initially were. But again, it's quite a different take on what we've done before, as Danny said. And it's quite a dynamic album, and we're really excited to see, how people respond to it.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there's the old saying, you can take as long as you want to make your first record, only a year to make the second. But as you were saying, there's some wild circumstances. So how did the pandemic help or hinder you guys in the writing process?
The album actually, we started creating the album well over a year ago now, like last end of July. Yeah. So it's been a long time, and we started well before the pandemic. But basically the album was a product of years and years and years of touring. And then we finally get this window, and we just decided to start working on this album, and we spent months and months, and then we went on tour again, and then months and months. And then the pandemic hit, and we still had to finish the album. So honestly, the pandemic had a slight hindrance in the timing of the wrapping up of the album, but overall it almost helped it in a way where it allowed us to write 2 more songs that we then recorded this summer on the album. And we've had nothing to do but put all of our effort into finishing it. So definitely made the most of the pandemic around the album.
Now, you're talking about writing the record and stuff. What was your thought process behind going to Los Angeles and using a different producer and stuff?
Well, it was interesting. I mean, we'd all talked about it, and we decided we wanted to try something different. And it was like during the summer. I think the idea behind that was, we met with a couple of different producers, and we kind of settled upon Greg Kirsten. It was like, our top choice for what we wanted to sort of try to achieve with this album. And to kind of create this cinematic thing. And so we ended up, because he's based in LA, we ended up going and staying the summer in LA and recording out of Henson Studios. But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, the way that chemistry worked and the way that a lot of these songs were written, I mean, again, it was like in between touring, like recording this and writing some of this. So it was like very much the feel of that, very much the feel of like, this sort of live energy and so
a lot of the songs that will be on the album we wrote on tour, and that's something we really hadn't done yet, or at least we've written on tour before, but we had never taken that idea and brought it into a studio with a producer, and we never really. But honestly, when we decided the album kind of decided itself once we started adding songs, and we're like, okay, we kind of have the direction of this album. So it definitely comes from touring.
I mean, all the material is entirely new, and not a single one of these songs, other than perhaps bits and pieces of one particular song anyone's ever heard. It's all just completely new material.
Yeah.
So
Maybe you'll make enough money with this new record to move away from a train, right? Is that you?
Yes.
I know. I'm sorry about that. We're really close to the train.
So here's a question you're probably going to get along, maybe I'm the first one to ask you. I don't know, you're probably going to get it. But what separates this from the Anthem of the Peaceful Army?
Well, a lot of different
And
things.
I think one certain thing that sticks out to me is I think some of the maturity of this album in pretty much all aspects, the performance aspects, the recording aspect, the songwriting aspects of it. Those are some elements.
Yeah, I think from the recording standpoint, Anthem of the Peaceful Army was very much put together very consistently, where we would come in and we would track a song, and we have the click track put up, and we were using just completely through the board. And then on this record, we kind of came in and we practiced the heck out of the songs, and we didn't use any click tracks, and we recorded all of it to tape. So each take like really, really mattered, and we tried to use our chops that we had developed from touring so often to kind of make the album based on a live take. And I feel like we just put a lot more work into each individual track on this album.
Yeah, and I think that sort of energy translates in the performance elements of this album and these songs for sure.
Now,
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, Greg Kirsten kind of was like, so how do you normally record? And we kind of explained what we did in the previous album. And he's like, why don't you just play it live? I mean, you do well touring and you play it live that way. So why not just do that? And we're like, oh, you know what? You're onto something.
Yeah, who would have thunk, right? Here in 2020, be playing records live. But that reminds me, like, Stone Temple Pilots kind of did the same thing with their first record. They knew the song so well. I think Robert once told me that, like, Plush was like the second take, and that was it, and they used it. So you guys get to know these songs as you're touring and playing and getting to a... Now, did you guys record your last record here in Royal Oak?
Anthem of the Peaceful Army was actually here in Nashville.
Oh, Nashville, okay.
Yep.
Blackbird, but we did a lot of preliminary work in Rust Belt Studios.
Yeah, we basically wrote the album
in Detroit. Yeah.
Royal Oak. Yeah.
So you brought up Nashville. What's with the change to Nashville?
Well, for the longest time, we're based out of Michigan, but we're also almost equally based out of Nashville. It's always been a home point. A lot of tours have kicked off in Nashville.
Ended in Nashville.
We've never really had homes because we were never in a place for longer than a week.
Yeah, it was the road, I guess.
And then once I don't know, Nashville's kind of just like the music scene. We had a lot of connections with studios and
yeah, I mean, it felt like we were here as much as we were in Michigan, which we consider home, So I think it was like just inevitable over a period of time. It becomes almost a stereotype that you're musician you'd live in Nashville. So that was like one of the things we even tried avoiding in terms of the stereotype. But it was like you just really ended up being here so often that it almost made sense to have to move here. So
yeah, I was down there recently. I was staying in White's Creek, and I went to a Black Shag Vintage, and the guy told me there. Tommy told me a couple of you guys go in there every once in a while.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. That's our neighborhood.
Yeah. So, Jake, let me ask you about the loss of Eddie Van Halen. What are your thoughts on that?
That was a rough day, rough week. I mean, there's like a lot of guitar friends, texting and back and forth. Yeah, I mean, that was like an influence for every guitar player, like that, who didn't want to play Eruption and stuff like that. And I remember growing up, he was such an influence to me. I remember a couple of years where I would listen to Van Halen constantly, but it was pretty brutal. I guess we mourned his loss for like a week.
We were also in the studio recording one of the songs for this album that day too.
Yeah, that's right.
In LA. So it was like you woke up, you found out the news, and then you had to go record a song. And this was weird energy.
Yeah, I think that was a translative thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody's waiting for this year to be over. So, hey, a couple of final things here. Talk about how your life has changed in the last 5 years from, selling 1 million tickets from playing the stage at Arts, Beats, and Eats. I mean, it's unbelievable.
What a roller coaster,
man.
Yeah. How do you phrase that?
That's I just always, my go-to is a roller coaster.
Yeah,
it's exciting, it's thrilling. You wait in line for it, you want to be there always. Mm-hmm. You're not accidentally on a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's tumultuous, man. I guess the ascension in terms of the amount of people that we're playing for and places we've been, it's in the last 3 years, probably one of the most chaotic, exciting, things anybody could experience.
Everything happened so quickly, but we knew what we were getting ourselves into, even if we didn't. It was at the end of the day, we are absolutely doing what we love. This is the dream, even though it doesn't appear to be a dream at times, but it totally is.
Yeah, I think especially this year, we've had more time to reflect than ever. I mean, before it was like we would have no idea what's going on because you're so wrapped in the chaos of it that self-reflection really isn't a thing. But this year in particular, I think we were able to sort of externally look at it in an existential way and gather some grounding in what's happened and what's gone on in the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's been quite a hellacious ride for you guys. No question about that. And I guess the record too, you guys talked about, with this record, it's about kind of like the worlds you guys are living in, kind of went back into this record as well.
Yes, definitely. With all the time to reflect.
Right.
There you go. Well, hopefully you guys have a long career, and this is another step in it. And we appreciate the time here in Detroit. And thanks so much for the guys for everything, and happy holidays and the whole 9 yards. So
absolutely.
Hey, me too.
Likewise.
all right, thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.